SpongeBob Season 15 has wrapped up, so it's time for me to rank this season. I was pleasantly surprised with Season 14, so I expected this one to be as good, but honestly, I think it is a bit of a downgrade. I still liked it better than a lot of the earlier seasons though. It had a lot of good qualities. The worst episode of the season is A Taste of Plankton. This episode is just really gross and strange. Plankton disguises as SpongeBob's tongue in order to taste the secret formula. It's as weird as it sounds, if not weirder. It's very similar to older episodes where Plankton goes inside of people to get the formula, except he doesn't usually disguise as the tongue, and honestly, I think they should stick to not having tongue episodes, because this one was really bad. Sammy Suckerfish is a Mary Poppins reference episode, kind of, where this random dude comes to help SpongeBob clean the Krusty Krab. The guy who comes cleans up the restaurant with his tongue, which is just gross and weird. He also sings this annoying song, and this episode is just another instance of gross-out humor being overdone in modern SpongeBob. Pinned is such a boring episode where SpongeBob gets stuck under his lifting bar and a bunch of random crap happens around him. These episodes where people are stuck in one place are usually pretty boring. There's only so much you can do when your main character is trapped under a metal bar attached to a couple of teddy bears. Dome Alone is a Sandy episode, and honestly, I just don't really like modern Sandy episodes because she's the only character of the main cast that hasn't changed completely since the original seasons. She just feels out of place, even when she's alone for the majority of this episode. She's also not that funny. Wary Gary is similar to the episode where SpongeBob tries to get him to take a bath, but this time it was trying to get him to go to the vet. This just doesn't have enough funny jokes to carry this pretty lame premise, as this episode just feels lame. Bad Luck Bob is really just watching SpongeBob go through horrible things the entire time, and honestly just is not fun to watch. He lost his good luck tie pin, so all his good luck went to Squidward. It's an interesting idea, but I wish we got to see more of Squidward's good luck instead of just watching SpongeBob be miserable for 11 minutes. Who is Afraid of Mr. Snippers has Squidward and Plankton as the main duo, which is pretty rare for the show, but this was definitely one of the weaker episodes with these two. It's just not that funny, and Squidward and Plankton are just like fighting the whole time about this stupid play, and it's kind of boring. Biscuit Ballyhoo is about biscuits, which is a pretty boring premise, but the episode makes it somewhat entertaining. The second half where Mr. Krabs and Pearl 1v1 and biscuit selling is kind of funny, but I also didn't really like the first half at all. But this was definitely an episode I got some enjoyment out of, which is a first for this season. Captain Quasar, the next iteration, introduces a new character with Captain Quasar, who is another superhero type of dude, and this episode is fine. It would just be a lot better if it was another character instead of the Squid Girl. Pablum Plankton is about Plankton's baby pictures being cute. I think Season 11 had the weirdest and most random ideas for SpongeBob episodes, but Season 15 is probably second, because some of these premises are just so stupid. It kind of makes it funny, but a lot of these episodes just feel like they're being dragged out to 11 minutes, and this episode is one of those. Student Driver Survivor is a boating school episode, and it's not horrible. Everyone leaves Mrs. Puff for some new instructor, which is a concept that definitely has similarities to previous episodes, but even if their creativity isn't really there, the episode still has some funny moments, with SpongeBob just being so bad at driving that he ruins everything. Stuck in the Elevator has SpongeBob, Squidward, and Patrick stuck in an elevator because SpongeBob and Patrick clicked every single one of the levels. It's a very simple idea, which isn't bad, but there wasn't as many funny moments as I would have hoped. This just feels like a worse version of the Well episode from Season 4. My Father the Boat was actually pretty funny. Having Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob pretend to be Pearl's boat is a pretty weird idea, but they had a good dynamic throughout the episode, and there was some pretty funny stuff with them doing fake car shit. The episode took a bit too long to get going, but it was funny when it did. Making Waves has Plankton and Mr. Krabs going on a vacation together, and they basically just fight the whole time. It's pretty funny, but we've seen these type of episodes like a billion times, so I can't rank it any higher than here. The Sandman Cometh kinda reminds me of those old SpongeBob short episodes where Patrick just does stupid stuff for the whole time, except this time it's 11 minutes. Patrick trying out different ways to fall asleep is pretty funny, and it reminds me of that one Avatar episode where Aang can't sleep, even though the episode is a lot better, obviously. A lot of the best episodes this season were focused on Squidward, and Muse Bob Mode Pants is one of those. This one is focused on Squidward's painting skills and how SpongeBob is his muse, and the only time his paintings are good are when it's of SpongeBob. It's a pretty funny episode, and the writers knew what they were doing with Squidward this season, and you'll see that in the top 10. Smartificial Intelligence is the first ever Perch Perkins centered episode, if I remember, which is kind of crazy. You might be the last character to get an episode focused on him, and it's actually pretty good. They brought in the whole AI thing, which is obviously a hot topic nowadays, but it didn't feel too forced, and the ending was surprisingly kind of satisfying. I didn't know they could make an episode about news be really entertaining. Jeffy T's Prankwell Emporium features Squidward's dad returning, which is something that I never even thought about. Like, he's never even mentioned before, but it turns out he's still in Squidward's life. He's kind of annoying at first with his pranks and stuff, but it's kind of funny as it goes on. I wouldn't mind him returning in the future and maybe developing some kind of relationship with Squidward. A Fish Called Sandy was the most popular episode from this season, as it brought back the old animation style and had a ton of references to classic SpongeBob episodes. I liked the animation, and I had a good time with the references, but I also think there wasn't much of a clear direction for a lot of this episode. Like, it was really just a bunch of random stuff, and a lot of it wasn't that funny. It was still really cool though, and had a really good time. Firehouse Bob has SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward as volunteer firefighters, and honestly, it's just really fun. It does so much with a simple concept, and seeing the three most important and iconic characters of the show still doing new stuff is kind of crazy. Like, we're getting to Simpsons level where they're just pulling random ideas out of their ass, and I'm honestly here for it because it's still pretty funny. Wiener Takes All is another Squidward episode where he becomes the manager of Weenie Hut Juniors, and it's really fun. Squidward is just the GOAT, so seeing him carry full episodes to this day is still really entertaining and it never gets old. The robot idea is kind of brought back too, which is cool, but I would prefer this not to be a mainstay in the series because the anti-AI stuff kind of gets old. We are going to be getting a lot more Squidward episodes in this section, with Upward being at number 5. Squidward actually becomes a famous musician with critical acclaim because the rich girl that takes him under her wing had a jellyfish covering her ear, so she didn't know how horrible he was at clarinet. It's really funny just seeing him get all he hoped for, even though he didn't do anything to earn it. It's usually not funny seeing him come back to Earth at the end, but he kinda deserves it here because he was being a dick for a lot of the episode. Squidness Protection is kind of similar to Upward, where Squidward takes up a kind of new identity where he has a ton of success. This time it's because he's a witness to a crime and he's allowed to leave Bikini Bottom to get protection, and he uses the freedom to become a totally different person. This episode is just really funny and has some great Squidward moments. I kind of wish this was a special episode or just longer so we could see more of Squidward having a new identity, but I still like what we got. Unidentified Flailing Octopus is just really fun and creative. Like, any episode where Squidward gets abducted by aliens is going to be awesome, and it makes it even more awesome that the aliens have tiki heads and are also abducting Squidward's house. SpongeBob and Patrick are barely in this episode, which just allows for Squidward to carry it by being goated. This season has a ton of Squidward episodes, which is where the show's roots are at, and I think it's good that they're going back to that. I'd much rather Squidward than the insane amount of Plankton episodes that were in the last few seasons before this. Big League Bob is just a really funny episode for the entire runtime. This season has only 11-minute episodes and no specials, which I actually really like because it allows for these episodes to have a really fast-paced style, but it rarely feels overwhelming. Like, this episode has so many different settings, with my favorite being the tryout section with the shrimp and the turtle dude, which was so funny, but the whole episode just has a ton of running gags that really work. This episode may not be an all-time great, but it's really funny, which is why it's at number 2. Delivery of Doom is my number 1 for this season. Similarly to season 14, this season is consistently good without trying to have all-time classics, which is something other modern seasons tried to do and ended up failing. I think it's good to just have a bunch of funny cartoon episodes that don't blow you away with stop-motion animation or 45-minute long episodes. Delivery of Doom is really funny. The villains coming back is always cool to see, especially when they aren't made out to be total losers, and this episode is also easily the most aesthetically pleasing of the season. Like, this episode looks great, especially all the scenes in the underground base. This is a perfectly made modern SpongeBob episode, and every future episode should try to be like this, instead of just trying to rehash old styles that do not work anymore. Season 15 was a pretty good time, with some fun episodes, but also some mediocre ones. I think I would rank it at number 10, behind season 14 and ahead of season 11.